In this video, I will show you how to set up your overlay. First, you need to preview your camera. Then make sure Show Overlay is ticked. Now, be mindful, if you choose a camera with a higher or lower definition, it might affect your overlay negatively. We'll show you an example of this later. Click on the Overlay tab. Here you have several toolboxes. The File toolbox allows you to load or save an overlay. We'll come back to that later. The Items toolbox is where you can add or edit a specific item that's included in the list. The Type toolbox allows you to select between a text type, an image type, or a background type. Let's start with text type. First, type in an item name, just something that will make you remember what that item is. Let's start with the dive. And at this dive will be a dive number. Make sure you enable it. Click on Add. Let's select it again and let's go modify it. Make it transparent. Change the color. Give it a shadow centered. And then you can position it any way you want. Once you're done, click Save. Let's add another one. Let's call it Task. Let's click on Enable. Again, you can choose whatever color you want. I prefer yellow. And I like to give it a shadow that is centered. Again, give it a size. Now note, you can also have any font that are presently installed on your Windows machine. And let's click Add on that. Now, for instance, let's say I want to go and edit the dive item. So just click on List, select dive, and go to your changes. So let's say this is 26 and we wanted it at 28. Save. And maybe task, we want it to be consistent at 28 and save. Something else we might want to add is something that has a data from an output string. First of all, let's have a look at our data tab, see what's coming in. This is the RX port from the UDP port from the BlueRuff2, which has been specified to be coming in at 25102, and this is the string coming from the BlueRuff2. We're presently receiving it, and you can see that by the numbers changing and the LED flashing. Okay, let's go back to the overlay and let's add a dive item. Sorry, depth item. And we want depth, enable, and let's have it 28. Let's have it yellow. Let's add that. Okay. Let's go back and modify it. And I want my depth this time to be in the center at the bottom. Let's give it a little bit like that. Center. Okay, now how do we put the actual depth? First of all, and let me just correct that here. I put a column and then I put a space to ensure that whatever comes afterwards is not going to be too close to it. So what you want to do is you want to basically choose the field, and you have to click on use data for it to show. So select the field up to where you get to a point where you're getting the depth. This is our depth, but maybe we don't want all these characters, so we want to limit the length, and let's give this 4. So note that each characters here represents the length, so the minus 0.4 is for characters, so maybe you want to give it a little bit more than that. Make sure you don't erase, the software doesn't like that. And then maybe you want to have a suffix. It could be feet, it could be meters, whatever the unit is. I like to put an M. And once this is done, click on save. And this will be the same thing to go retrieve anything else that you want to put on your overlay as far as data is concerned. Now, maybe you want to put your company logo. So let's put logo as a name for the item. Click on image, and then click on the folder to bring up this open dialog window. It's important here to read, you must copy your image in the same directory as Oceanvault Recorder. This is kind of important just because you don't want people to, by mistake, delete these logos because you've taken a logo from the desktop. So open, and then click enable. At this point, you can see that the logo might be a bit too big, so what you want to do is you give it a size that you want to have, and you might want to alpha blend it with the picture that's in the back. So let's alpha blend it maybe to 100 and enable alpha blend. And then changing the position is again basically the same thing as before for the text. Okay, and then click on add. As you can see, it seems to be a bit reversed, but what's important to notice here is there's an alignment. So what you want to do is you want to, if you have it on left top, these will not be reversed. So you have to be careful which alignment you decide to have. Let's go ahead and save that. Now, if you notice, it seems that the logo is a bit distorted. Why is this happening? Well, it's because right now this over here is slightly distorted. It's not true to form. So if you really want to see what it looks like, right click and put it at 100% of the picture. Now you can see what the logo and the overlay will really look like when you record the video. Go back to 50% for something that's more usable. The other thing that you can do is you can go on control and take a snapshot. Let's put our snapshots on the desktop. Let's take a snapshot and have a look at it. There you go. As you can see, the overlay is not distorted. Okay, let's move on. As you can see right now, the writings is kind of hard to make out, and what I like to do is I like to add a border. So I will just a background. So background, and I'll call it background top, and then select, basically this is the color of the background, and click on enable. And you give it a height, let's call it 100. You could select a different color and add. Again, if you look at your background, you got to make sure this is not stuck on left bottom. You just go back to left top. Ooh, sorry about that. I I need to select background again. There you go. Left up. Okay, obviously red is not the color of choice, so let's take black. And what's nice about these background is just to apply an alpha blend of about 100, so that this will really make your text pop. Now, of course, you kind of want to watch out for your logo over here, so you might want to move your logo a little bit so that it fits more in. So let's just go ahead and save that. Select the logo and then put it right at the top. There we go. Click on save. And as you can see, you can configure your overlay for anything you want. Now let's do something else with the overlay. I want to save that because this was for the UWild survey, and then you just basically select where you want to save it. I'll just save it on the desktop and give it a name, and this will save it as an OVL file, which is an overlay file. And the overlay file basically is a Microsoft Excel file. So if you want to edit it, you can always edit it manually, and let's have a look at what that looks like. So open up that, drag here, click on yes, and boom, this is what your overlay configuration file looks like. Okay, now let's do some damage here. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the logo. Right, and now, oops, I want to go back to where I have it, so let's just go load the one we saved previously, and as you can see, everything comes back. Now I want to show you what's going to happen if I change camera for lower resolution. So let's just go here and stop the preview, video in. Let's select the USB camera, which is not the HD camera. Go back here. Show the preview, start the overlay. You can see that the characters appear to be bigger, and the positioning, they're too dense for this one. So the solution would be to create an overlay that would be specific to the camera. So when you save your camera, you can save it as a HD, whatever title you want, or SD or USB camera or whatever, so you know that it's going to fit perfectly. Now let's just show you, just for sake of example, the rear camera, which is an HD camera again. Let's preview that, show the overlay, and then you can see that that one doesn't really matter because it's the same resolution, therefore this remains unchanged. This concludes this tutorial video for the overlay settings. Thank you for watching and for purchasing our product.